Only Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the proprietor, controller, and enjoyer. I am the Supreme Lord of all planets and gods, or devatas and all that. Lord Shiva is actually none different from Krishna. He is an expansion of Krishna. Krishna's first expansion is Balram. You've heard of Balram, right? Balram and Krishna, there's no difference between the two. Krishna is Balram and Balram is Krishna. When you associate with people who already have a higher consciousness, they will help you to raise yourself to that higher consciousness. Be in the present, be in the now. Parents say baat hoti hai, so even with them, somehow, somewhere, they are also trying to be in the present. You don't want to think a lot about the past. You don't really want to think about the future. Friends ke saath bhi baat hoti hai. And I feel like we do this to attain peace. I mean, at least for me, if I'm meditating or if I'm doing some mindful activity, I want to be at peace. So spiritually, what is it to be in peace, and what is peace? That's a very good question. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says that don't look towards the past, don't worry about the future. It is very difficult. The present. Yes, it is very difficult. But then he provides the solution as well. Every living entity, every Jivatma is looking for peace and happiness. That is our inherent nature. Everything we do, the ultimate goal of that is to get peace and happiness. Right? So, how do we achieve this? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in a beautiful verse in chapter 5, verse 29, he said, Bhoktaram yagya tapasham sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam gyatvaman shantim rakshati. Right? So he's giving us the peace formula. What is that? Prabhupada says this is the peace formula. He says the United Nations should adopt this and there'll be peace all over the world. So what this means is that a person who is in full consciousness of me knows me to be the proprietor, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, right? And who is also the controller and the enjoyer. Only Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the proprietor, controller, and enjoyer. When we on our own try to be the proprietor, controller, and enjoyer, then we can never be peaceful, we can never be happy. So he says, one who actually understands me to be the beneficiary of all austerities and sacrifices. I am the Supreme Lord of all planets and gods, or devatas and all that. And I am the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. Then you achieve peace from all material miseries. This is Krishna's words. So, if that's the case, then what exactly is Krishna trying to tell us? He is trying to tell us that we ourselves, if we just take shelter of Krishna, if we actually become God conscious, that then only we can find peace and happiness. So, how do you become God conscious? Yeah, there is a beautiful song in English which was actually put together by the Beatles in the 60s, right? John Lennon, one world under God. Yeah. If you remember that song. Yes. That song actually comes from this verse in the Bhagavad Gita. So how do you achieve this? So Krishna goes on to say in chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. He says, forget about all the other kinds of religious beliefs and all that. You just come to me. Okay, mam ekam sharanam vraja. If you just come to me, right? Aham tvam sarva papebhyo means no matter what may have happened in the past, whether in this lifetime or in many other births prior to this lifetime, I will take care of all of them. Aham tvam sarve papibhyo mokshayasami. I will release you of all the reactions of all the things that may have happened in the past. Mahasuja, no doubt. Okay, have no doubt that when you come to me, I take the reactions of all your actions that may have happened in the past, and you can achieve peace and happiness only by coming to me and taking shelter of me.
An example which may help your viewers too.
Yeah, sure.
Right? You have a lamp, right, which is battery operated. Okay, and so every time you have to keep charging the battery and the battery runs out, right? The intelligent thing to do is to connect that lamp to an electrical source, and then it's always lit
Charged,
up, always lit up, right? So this example is similar to our lives in the sense that if we connect to the source who is Krishna, then we're eternally happy. But if we are not connected to Krishna, then our happiness is temporary. As long as the battery lasts, then that happiness runs out. Then again we go back and start looking for another event or action or something which will give us happiness, right? That's called like recharging the battery. Right? So if you're connected to the source, you don't have to worry about this. You're always happy. You're always connected to the source, and your lamp is always lit up.
I love the analogy. I love the analogy. You know, this reminds me of, and I was going to ask you that later on, but I'll just ask you now. Another analogy, I was listening to your YouTube videos, and I was listening to the 12 Mahajanas.
Yes.
And I loved it. I listened to it 2-3 times. The analogy that you gave of the milk, curd,
yes,
Lord Krishna and Shiva. Can you talk about that and explain?
Yes, sure. When milk is
the transformation
transformed into yogurt, how do you do that? You add some kind of bacteria to it, right? Right? Then only that yogurt is formed from the milk. But it still is milk, correct? It is still a byproduct of milk only, right? But now it's in a state where it is different from milk. Although it's different, the base is still milk, but it's different in the sense it's a different form, right? So Lord Shiva is actually non-different from Krishna. He is an expansion of Krishna. Okay, by expansion I mean Krishna takes different forms to achieve different purposes. Okay, Krishna's first expansion is Balram. You've heard of Balram, right? Balram and Krishna, there's no difference between the two. There's no difference. Krishna is Balram and Balram is Krishna. The only difference is that Krishna takes the form of Balram so that Balram can serve him and make it possible for him to perform his different pastimes, different leelas, right? In fact, Balram is responsible for all of Krishna's leelas. Krishna performs the leelas, but Balram makes it happen. The environment, the setup, everything, like he was setting the studio up in order to have this interview. Balram also does the same thing for Krishna to be able to perform his leela. Right? So Balram is the first expansion of Krishna and non-different from Krishna. And then Balram, in order to be able to perform all the different functions that are necessary for Krishna's pleasure, he again expands. And one of his expansions is Sankarshan. Is associating with like-minded people. Yes. Right? That's very important. When you associate with
is what they say.
When you associate with people who already have a higher consciousness, they will help you to raise yourself to that higher consciousness. And then you will be at a level where you will be always peaceful, always happy. That association is the root in which that plant grows, in which you grow, right? Then you water it, you provide it with the sunshine. Watering and sunshine is the chanting and the kind of worship that you follow, right? Then that plant grows and it blossoms, and then everyone admires and loves it, right? So it's important that you have proper association and you have a proper sadhana or worship. When you have these two, it will help you to raise your consciousness to a high level where you'll not be distracted, you'll not be affected by all the things going on around you. In fact, you will be an influencer rather than be influenced by what goes around you.
So when you said sadhana, what do you mean? Is it like a practice?
Yes,
it's like a meditation practice, or does it involve?
It includes several things.
Okay.
Sadhana includes several things. The first thing is that you should have a strict discipline that you follow.
Okay.
Right. For example, we chant 16 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We don't eat things which are not.
Okay, so some practices
yes.
You have to stick to.
Right. We only eat prasadam, that means food that is offered to Krishna before we honor it, we eat it. Right. We read the Shastras, we read Bhagavad Gita every single day, we read the Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Like you can see here, you have the Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the Bhagavad Gita here. So we read this every single day, even if it's only one verse, but we read it every day. Then we associate with always devotees and people who are of a higher consciousness than us, who can help us. That is called sadhana. Right? Okay. All these different pieces is what is called sadhana.
Put together is sadhana.
Yeah. And finally, the most important thing is we get up very early in the morning. I get up at 3:30 in the morning.
The Brahma Muhurat? Is that why?
Because it's very important to take advantage of Brahma Muhurta.
You get up at 3:30 every day?
Every morning I get up at 3:30.
So what time do you sleep?
I sleep by 10 latest.
And 5 hours is enough?
Yeah, 5.5 hours is more or less enough. Actually, 6 hours is what is required, not more than that.
It's not 8 like they say?
They say 8, but it's not required. We tend to, when you sleep more, then you have less time in the day to do many other things that you can do.
And I think I have read also that if you are meditating regularly, if you have very strong sadhana, you need less and less sleep.
Yes, absolutely. 6 hours. Our Param Guru Srila Prabhupada used to sleep 2 hours a day.
Wow.
But of course, he is a special soul.
Yes.
We cannot imitate that. Our bodies still need the rest. So 6 hours is considered.
So you get up at 3:30 and then you meditate? You have
at 3:30 I get up. It takes me about half an hour, 45 minutes to have a bath and to be prepared. Then I go to the temple. The temple is about 7 minutes away from me.
So what time does the temple open?
The temple opens at 4:30.
Oh, the Iskcon?
Yes, Iskcon temple opens at 4:30. And then we have the first arati of the day, greeting the deities early in the morning. After the first arati, the first worship, then we have a couple of hours for our chanting. So we together chant our 16 rounds together.
In the temple?
Yeah, in the temple itself. And then after that, we have another arati which is offered to our Guru, to our Param Guru and to our Gurus. It's called Guru Puja.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a 30 to 45 minutes class on Srimad Bhagavatam early in the morning. And then that's your sadhana in the morning. And then you're free to do your material responsibilities.
It feels so peaceful even listening to it.
Absolutely, it is. If you practice it, you will definitely achieve peace.
Yeah.